So thanks for joining us tonight. A little bit different. My co-host, Amy, is actually in Boston doing some conferences about social media and the ins and outs of it. So it's kind of funny that we're talking about that here. I see she's watching, so hopefully she tunes on. I'm Danielle Valentine, and joined with us this week are two guests. If you guys would like to introduce yourself quickly.
Sure, I'm Bethany.
I'm Stephanie.
So tonight is all about social media. So a few weeks ago, we had kind of dabbled in the conversation of what is social media? Who do you follow? What are you, how does it benefit you? The negatives of like personal and emotional avenues with that. Thank you. Today is all about the kids. So each of us have different age children. And, first I'd like to talk about, we're a little bit different in age groups. Not much. I'm the baby. I'm 34. You don't have to share your age. So social media, when I was a kid, was very different. Like I remember in 8th grade, my dad had a computer downstairs in the office, and I've been told that my mom is watching, which she never gets to watch, so I have to edit some of my stories maybe. No.
I'm pretty sure she probably already knows.
She already knows. My mom knew everything. She just chose what she admitted that she knew and not. So my dad had a business computer downstairs, and I did get a computer in my room, but I want to say I was a freshman in high school. And at that time, it was dial-up. It was AOL only. So I remember like Napster. I had left the internet plugged in all night long to download all of my songs to make my CDs, because at that time you could do it on Napster. Got in trouble for that. I tied up the phone lines all night. But I don't remember like AIM and chat rooms and stuff like that until I was probably like a sophomore, junior in high school. And at that time, I don't even remember doing them at my house. So I don't know if that was restricted or and maybe my mother can chime in. But I do remember going to a friend's house. It was the babysitter's house. And I would sit on chat rooms like all day long and didn't really see a danger in it. I don't think anything occurred, that was dangerous or not. I was just talking with random people and strangers, and that's what it was. When I was a freshman in college is when Facebook came. I went to Ashland University. I remember sitting in my dorm room when the email came that said, we are officially a college-approved Facebook user. So then you couldn't just join to join. You had to be a college to join. And so that was kind of like my social media avenue. I think if it did come any earlier, my parents wouldn't have let me. I had like MTV blocked and VH1 and stuff, so they were.
Oh yeah, that was a no-go.
They were a bit strict with that. So I don't know if maybe I came late into the world, but that was my view. So kind of where are you at? What was it like when you were?
So for me, I'm a little bit older than you are. So I think AOL, I remember that in like probably 8th grade, probably freshman year, somewhere in there. And I distinctly remember going to Kim's house, and we would sit there and wait. And wait for the little dial-up thing to make all the noise. And no, I'm not going to make all the noise.
We should have made some of that noise.
Scott's trying to find it for us. And then like, I don't know if anybody else remembers, but like seriously, the first question would be ASL ? Like all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
what's your age, sex, and location?
Yeah. So
that was like the question.
That was the big question.
Which now, if you heard it, to show the difference, if somebody asked my daughter age, sex, and location, I'd be like, nope, block them, done.
Goodbye.
Like, but for us, that's just how you knew somebody. What was your?
Yeah, and then I went to college, and then Facebook happened. Oh, yeah, there we go.
We are logging in currently.
Taking forever.
We'll take the whole rest of the episode. Well, I think that's why I got in trouble, because I didn't think a big deal. I was tying up phone line all night long. So go ahead.
Well, mine was, I was even older. I didn't really have an experience with AOL, practically the internet for that matter, until I was in my first job about 18, 19 years old. And even then we had a separate line installed, and you were trying to sneak in at work, but it was the same thing. At home when you had it, there was no appropriate reason to be on, I guess, in that age range. Yeah. There was no friend finding, right? It was all about, seek and destroy. There was a purpose behind everything. And,
you got on to do research papers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Huh. So it's definitely changed over the years. And so, I am in social media. I have a Facebook account. I am a 31 Gifts consultant. So probably 80% of my revenue and customer base and everything are found and the relationships are built on social media.
True.
So that is why I'm on. I am not I would like to say a guru in social media. I literally had Amy teach me Instagram and YouTube this year because I was told that's where I need to be, is on Instagram, because that's where this generation is.
Yes.
So I don't really have much knowledge. I guess I'm really naive on a lot of what is going on. You hear all these bad things, but then I'm one of those people, if I don't have the proper knowledge, I just don't deal with it. So my daughter, she is 11, and she's very social. And of course, everyone in her class, she's in 6th grade. My son's in 2nd grade. And when I say everyone in her classroom has a phone, everyone has a phone, and it's better than mine. The 2nd graders have iPhones, and they're all on social media. He has friends that are on the TikTok app, and they're on Facebook, or they're on Instagram. It seems like that age group isn't on Facebook; they're on Instagram. And I personally do not understand enough and we're going to kind of talk about that, of like, how do you monitor it? I don't know how to properly monitor it, so I just don't do it. But I do know that I'm going to hit a wall where I'm going to kind of be forced to a certain extent to deal with it and to understand it. And so, and many other parents might be in that situation. So from a kind of what we allow in our household is, Olivia does have a phone. It is for emergency purposes only. Anytime she's not with me, she can have it. There's a Marco Polo app that she's allowed to use endlessly. So my dad works out of state. She's allowed to message him whenever. I also have a few strong friends that are good, solid friends that I think are going to be a good influence. She can message them. She does have an Instagram account. I did get a little bit loose with that for a few months, and then I found a picture of her in front of our address label at our house because she thinks the sign is cool. And I went nuts because I was like, you just posted your beautiful face and our address on Instagram, and then I took everything. So, but I do get a lot, the TikTok app, stuff like that, asked for, and I'm just like, nope, don't know enough, I don't want it. And so kind of that's where my household is at. So,
Okay.
What is...
All right, so my daughter is 9, and because of older kids in the neighborhood, we have totally been asked about TikTok, which is an absolute no-go in the house. She has a Gizmo watch. I don't feel that she needs a phone. The Gizmo watch lets her call, I think it's 8 or 10 people that I pick. She can only respond with set text messages. So I can also set it to it automatically answers. So it
is through Verizon.
Yeah.
So if listeners are listening, and also please, we are watching the comments. Leave comments if you have questions, because I was unaware of what a Gizmo watch was for a while. So if we talk about something and you don't know, please, I'm viewing the comments. I'm reviewing them. Let us know. If you're tuning into this later, please let us know. But a Gizmo watch is basically a watch through Verizon.
It's like an Apple Watch, but cheaper.
Yeah, that. It also tracks your children, too.
Yeah, so if she goes to the neighbor's house, I can go on the app on my phone, see exactly where she is, so I can see if she told me the truth or didn't tell me the truth, because we've had some issues with her just deciding to go to my parents' house and not telling anyone, which is one of the reasons we got the watch. But I've heard rumors that some of the other carriers are thinking about bringing something back into the mix because they were not a popular option when they first came out, but more and more parents want them. For us, it's a good step to not having a phone because I don't want her to have access to certain things yet.
But she does have tablet, right?
So we have an iPad. It's a 1st gen mini, so it can't do a lot of things. It doesn't update on certain things. I don't know who downloaded TikTok on it one time, but it wasn't my kid. It was somebody else's kid. So we had to have a long conversation about why that was not appropriate.
And let me chime in real quick. So we keep saying TikTok, just in case people don't. So TikTok is like the new, what would you say, like the new thing. It's like this
kind of like Vine-ish.
Yeah, so this was really difficult for me because I did allow Olivia to have it when I first researched it. And the reason for that is my daughter is extremely creative, musical. She does a lot of videos of her singing and lip singing. And what this app is basically that, but it adds like fun things. And, different motions and lights coming in, and it mixes the music. It's just really a cool thing, I thought.
It is a cool app.
Well, then I researched that it is completely public. You no longer can make the profiles private. So our 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds that are making these cute apps or these cute videos are viral, and anybody can see them. And so that was a concern of mine. So that's what she's saying. So what is Anya allowed to do, at the age of 9?
So we did Messenger Kids for Facebook because she has quite a few little friends from school that have it. We ask her to either stay in our great room or where I can hear what she's doing, just because you never know what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
It allows them to video chat with each other, and then they could play these weird little games that they find hilarious. One gives them little pig bodies, and they have to break a wall or something. So for me, I'm okay with that. It's controlled. She can only have that when we allow her to have the iPad. If I figure out that she's learned the passcode, it gets changed, because we've had that happen, and it's timed. So she has to earn the privilege, because we're working on responsibility at the moment.
So Stephanie, your kids are a little bit older.
Yes, my oldest is 15. She's been on social media since around 9, and then my youngest is 13, and she has no desire to be on anything.
So she doesn't have a desire. It's not like
she. You know what she does is she goes on YouTube and watches videos. She is a pro at Internet Explorer, which I've done various searches and found a lot of inappropriate things.
Yeah.
And we've had a number of discussions. And it comes to the point, especially around that age, at least in my opinion. Let's start there. In my opinion, they're not doing anything that we didn't do at our own age.
Exactly.
The hard part is they just have the ease of access to things we didn't have. We would have to go and hide or steal somebody else's parents' stuff or whatever it may be, and they just have it at the tip of their fingers. And you can lock down, and we can do this, but natural curiosity. I don't want her to feel ashamed for being curious.
Exactly.
In many ways. So there is some challenges there.
And I would agree with that too, because my daughter is very social, and so I want her. There are a lot of positives with social media, networking. Our world is becoming technology, whether we want to admit it or not. Networking, learning. My business is solely done on social media. I want her to have that skill. All those things. Most of our restrictions are based on fear. However, yes, the world has changed quite a bit, but they're still going to be curious whether we stop it or not. So it's a very good point.
Right. And all I can really do is we have to talk about it.
Right.
Uncomfortable or not. We discuss it.
Pretty much anything.
Yeah, we discuss it. We talk about it. I share why I don't feel it's appropriate, or why I feel that, because some of the videos, we'll say, that are out there, like on YouTube, that you can search, or through the internet for that matter, are, not very healthy relationships with women.
Yeah.
And so we talk about that. We have open discussions about, it's not like this in real life, and you have to understand. I said, I don't approve. I wish that we had healthier options for you to explore but there isn't. That's the hard part. There isn't.
Yeah. And you know what? Saying that, I actually, and I wasn't going to mention this, but it made me think of this. The other day, my daughter is in a very hard part in her life right now. She's 11, but she's extremely mature for 11. She's always been set different. As she's the craft mind, the musical mind. She's not book smart by any means. She barely gets by, and that's okay. We've always said God gave you the ability and the gift to dance and sing and not
be funny.
And to be funny. You guys have seen her videos. She's a comedian. She's fun. She's different. But so she struggles a lot with friends in school, and she had said something the other day. Because I have kind of reined back the phone again. I had, let it go a little bit in the summer and realized I had let the reins go a little bit too much. And so I'm bringing it back. And so she had said the other day to me, I just want my phone so I feel connected with people. And I said, why don't you call them? You're able to make a phone call. And she just looked at me because they don't make phone calls. No, they just text. And I had said to her, I said, why don't you feel, and it did open up one of the best conversations I think I've had with my daughter, because we talked about, you're texting and stuff like that, but you don't want to make a phone call because do you know how to talk on the phone any longer? And she was like, no, I don't talk on the phone with my friends. And so that was something, it did give me an opportunity to walk her through something that, yes, social media is going to keep you connected, but you don't need to be texting. You don't need to be messaging them to have a relationship with them.
Right.
And so I do think that maybe the parent norm is to say, nope, no social media. I'm going to protect my child. I'm going to put them in a box. But then what are we teaching them later on? If we didn't teach them how to process, they're going to do it anyway. They're going to be curious.
They're going to do it anyway.
No matter what, the children are going to be curious. I can think of several things that I was not allowed to do, but I still did. And there were times where, I knew that I could go to my mom and talk about them, but
not everybody has that option.
I was, and there were times where I went to my mom and I'm like, I'm curious about that. And I remember this is one of the greatest memories of my mom. It's something so simple. My mom used to take a bath, probably 3 or 4 times a week. And the way our bathroom was, the bathroom was here and the hallway was here. And I would sit in the hallway. And some of our best conversations growing up was then. I could ask my mom anything at any age. I mean, you name it. Sexual to boys to things looking weird, anything. And I knew that. But a lot of people don't have that ability to have those conversations. And so, you bring up that point of let them have it. They're going to be curious anyway. Leave the door open where they can talk about it. Make sure that they're being safe. My daughter posting a picture of her address was not safe.
That's not safe.
But instead of me going, I'm taking your phone, no Instagram, I probably should have had a conversation of why that's not safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why am I taking your phone other than,
That was a big option when my oldest was 9, and she was along the same lines, very mature, very intense. She was very intelligent, well beyond her years, and wanted a social media account. She did a lot of creative drawings and for those of you who know Sophia,
they're beautiful.
Her artistic makeup and her, she's just extremely talented. And it was a way for her to kind of share. And let's also not forget that, a lot of times it's not just about connectedness. It's about emotional validation. These kids need emotional validation, and they're, as much as we want to have these great relationships with them, I feel like they still feel disconnected from their parents. They want to rely on their friends, and this is the way that they get it done. So we had very open discussions about purpose and use, and there was monitoring, and we got some set up, and Facebook was very easy. Instagram was when I discovered that everything was great. She's on Instagram. I follow her. She follows me. I follow all of her friends. Everyone who's following her, I follow, monitor, ask questions. Who's this
you're
person?
doing your diligence.
Right. We made sure that it was on lockdown. She didn't have a public profile. I questioned strange people and strange names. And the next thing you know, Instagram kind of died. And somewhere along the way, I found out that there are secret accounts that get set up on Instagram, and all the friends will do that. So they create these alternate profiles. They block the parents, so parents cannot find them in any way. They come up with different names and fake names, but they build this alternate social media world for this ecosystem for themselves, where they can live and share and be who they really want to be.
Be the kids. Be the silly.
And be all the things, right? But that caused problems.
Yeah.
Just because, and it's not that it was bad, but it, I had to make sure that she understood that I don't know who's in there anymore. I don't know who these people are. Well, now that you have a fake account, you don't know who other people are posing.
Right.
It could be anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And so one of the safety measures that I had, tried to really implement was that random phone checks. Whenever I want, I walk into the rooms, I say phone check, and they hand it over immediately. No locking, no blocking, don't swipe, don't touch the phone, hand it over. I have password access, I have fingerprint access. There was one incident where the password had been changed, and the password would not be given to me, and that phone had died. It ended up broken, and for quite some time.
It ended up broken.
And so that's not a problem anymore.
Yeah. And I think that you actually opened my eyes to think of that. As a parent, our first thing is give me the phone, you're done. You broke a rule, you did something unsafe. Because it's fear. It's our own fear. We don't want our babies hurt. And so your first fear is give it to me, take it. If you're not having the conversations and walking through it, you're going to miss all of that. Like, I had she's 11, and now I'm like, man, I need to check around. I don't know if there's hidden accounts. She would be smart enough to do that. And there are certain things, she's goofy and silly that she does that.
Did you get it?
Dead fruit fly.
So they're flies. We have an issue that there are 3 flies in my home currently that have lived here for a week, and they have been driving me crazy. So I've been offering kill ransom notes, if you kill a fly, you will get a reward. And our producer just killed one, so we will follow that up later.
And I will say too that in her defense, not to make her sound all that bad, that by the time a new phone came into play months later, and we found out why she locked the phone, it was for a silly reason. And so we talked it through. I said, do you really think that it was worth it? Do you really think you would have gotten in that much trouble? And she's like, well, I guess not. So, we ended up talking through it, but it took, me having to push a little bit, and, obviously as kids do, challenge back and push back.
And we want them to do that.
And we do, absolutely.
We want them to challenge.
But she thought she would get in a lot of trouble, and while that doesn't mean there wouldn't have been any consequences, I didn't need to break the phone, but if you're not going to let me in your phone and this was the rule, I needed to stick by my rules. And I think that's the other big piece, is just making sure that we're following through on the rules that we set in place.
And you're consistent with them.
And very consistent with
them. And I can tell you, that makes you think. So when I was a freshman, or somebody, whoever it was, a perfect stranger in a chat room, say age, sex, and location, I'm like, oh, here's your answer. Ta-da. How many times did you say a different age? How many times did you make yourself a little older?
I don't know that I did, to be honest.
I know I did. But to me at that time, that didn't seem like that big of a deal. Oh, I wanted to be a little more mature. I wanted to be 17, 18 years old. It's not like I, in my head, had this thing of, I'm going to act older so I can seduce somebody older. There was no way that I thought that way. Now as an adult, if somebody said that to my daughter, I would be offended instantly. Why do you need to know her age? Why do you need to know her location? I would go into protector mode. But in a sense, it might be just like them. They're like, Mom, why do you have to monitor everything? Mom, why do you have to see everything? They're thinking along the same lines as where we are.
Yeah. But, also, we grew up in a different time.
I agree.
Social media was still very new, and people were still trying to
understand
the platform and what its use is. Yeah. And now that it's become I don't want to call it a predatory platform, but let's be honest, there are predators on it, and who leverage that as their number one source.
Well, and that's going to lead us, it's something that you kind of touched base on hidden profiles and stuff like that. And let's explain why we have these fears. You're right. This is where people are finding their next, I don't want to say victim, their next person, their next crime.
But they are a victim.
But that's what it is. And that's kind of what it's, I don't want to use that word in a sense, but that's kind of where the ground is and where the platform is in it. And so, we kind of talked about how there is a totally different underworld. And people have these other accounts, and they're, fake accounts. We've all saw that one fun what is it, Catfish? The dating where they pretend to be other people.
Oh yeah, Catfish.
Come on.
That's
that's I think where it started, and then everybody was like, oh, these are great ideas.
That's the thing movies are made.
Yeah. So, these are people pretending to be other people. Well, that's there's this underworld of fake profiles and all that. But let's talk about the hidden apps. So it was brought to my attention. Actually, she's a viewer of ours. I won't mention names. She was telling me about this. Literally, I was speechless for 2 days. I did not respond to her message for 2 days because it took me back. She had said her daughter downloaded an app called Draw It. And it was like a red square with a drawing pencil, and it looked like a drawing app, which would be something my daughter would download. She would ask me, hey, Mom, can I download? Because we do have a rule. You have to ask before you download something. Right. And when she downloads something, I get an email. She would have said, hey, Mom, can I download this drawing app? I would have said, yes, be creative. Download it. That would have been my response. Once you opened this app and you swiped right, it was a chat room. And it was like some hidden.
So would it be kind of like the Snapchat-esque kind of idea?
Yeah. It was very similar to Snapchat, that when you commented, it then disappeared. Which if you don't know about Snapchat, I just was kind of informed of Snapchat a year ago.
Really?
Yeah. So yes, I just learned about Snapchat a year ago. I was told that it is the new cheating app. So if your boyfriend or girlfriend have Snapchat, delete it now. That because they can talk to each other and it disappears instantly. This is how I was introduced to this. I don't like it because I'm one of those people who likes to review things several times and like see stuff. So I do not have Snapchat, but that's what I had learned. But
I do not have it.
That's kind of what this app was. It was basically a chat room. But what precautions can they do to know about that? Is there a list out there that says all of these hidden apps?
There is no way. I don't think you could ever list
No.
all the apps and social media platforms and programs and everything that someone can have. What I will say is that I felt that the random phone checks helped because I'm able to click on everything
and see what it is.
On an iPhone, you can see all of those.
You can see it on any phone. I click every app. I look through. I go through menu options because I'm not familiar with them. And Snapchat, I still can't snap. Do you know what I did? I gave it to who was probably 14 at the time. I'm like, show me how to work it. Let me understand it. And then the next phone check, I know where to go. I know where to look. Yeah, things are going to disappear, but she's grown to a point to where I trust her behavior.
You have that open conversation.
I trust her behavior. We talk about it. We joke about it. I mean, I feel that she's a lot more mature than a lot of people her age. And so I'm comfortable with her now. But when my 13-year-old wants to or is ready, that might be a different set of
and
rules.
Each child is different. And each child is different in that. So, no, and that's a good way to look at that. And a phone chat of actually opening every single app.
Open every one.
I think is huge because you don't know what is hidden. That literally blew me away. And I think maybe the reason it made me so numb is that is something that I would have been like, oh yeah, download it. Spend all your time on it. Draw, be creative.
So for us, I look at everything she's downloading before she downloads it. Yeah. Because she's significantly younger than both of your kids. So it doesn't get downloaded until I know exactly what it is, what it's like capable of. So like, yes, she has Minecraft, but her chat is turned off because I don't want her chatting with somebody I don't know. And there's no way to like set the boundaries on that.
Yeah. And I think that is, and that was kind of, the point of this show is really to go through. My eyes have been opened and I'm on social media all day long. I literally am on Facebook and Instagram, messaging hostesses, getting orders and stuff like that, 6 to 7 hours a day.
I believe it.
At least. So I would think I have all of the avenues and I know no, like my eyes have been open to that. And so I really, I encourage parents, if you're just tuning in, to please like re-listen and recheck the phones. So kind of going over, I do think that a lot of our restrictions are based on fear. The world has changed. We're just trying to protect them. But I love it does open a conversation. Like stop trying to, because let's face it, when we're told no, and not given the conversation or an out, we're going to find a way around it. Yeah. We did that as kids. When I was told, I dated this boy when I was a teenager, and I was not allowed to date him. I found ways to date him. Right. That half-hour band lunch break, he all of a sudden appeared every lunch break. Like, you find ways. So I feel like, we have to take that into
There you go, Mom.
Yeah. My mom already knew. And if not, my dad knew. He followed me everywhere. But, I wasn't allowed to date him. So I was at band practice, you find a way. And I think that needs to be looked at in social media aspect. If we just take the phone, if we just break the phone, if we don't have the conversation and offer the why. And I think that the worst line, and I use it because I'm the parent, I'm the adult, that's why.
Because I said so.
Because I said so. That is like the worst line to say because they need to have that why. They need to have that understanding. Otherwise, you're just the bad person.
Well, and in retrospect, I think we as parents want to know the why as well.
Exactly.
Not just them, but, tell me your why. Tell me why you feel it's important, why you need to be here, what it's for, what its purpose. Like, get their thoughts because sometimes they may have this idealistic view of what it means to be on there or
versus what reality is.
Well, and that was my conversation the other night. Olivia, the conversation opened with I want my phone, I need to connect. Well, why do you need to, and I can tell you, I don't have these conversations often with Olivia, but for some reason, something told me I needed to stay and push this one out. And I said, why do you need to connect? What's going on? Well, my friends have phones. And I go, but you can call them anytime on my phone. Or let's set up play dates. Friends are always welcome here anytime, any day. And as the conversation progressed, it went, I don't have any friends. I'm sitting alone at lunch. I'm being bullied at school. And in her head, being 11 years old, it was because I don't have a phone. I don't have friends because I can't socially engage with them. That is not true. It is more true that she is a little different and she's more mature and those friends are not on that level. But in her head, she thought if I had a phone and I could text them, that would fix all the problems. And, it opened up so much more to a conversation. But they needed to know the why, and I needed to know the why. So what I would like to do, so we have a fun guest, if she could join us. So, as parents, we can talk about what social media was to us, what it was like to us, where our fears are, why we have these restrictions, all that. So what I would like to hear from, so Sophia is Stephanie's daughter. She's 15 years old, and I kind of want to just hear why she likes social media, what she uses social media for. So if you could tell us, what social media avenues are you on?
I'm only on a few, and even then I don't really use them. So I have a Snapchat, a Instagram, and a Facebook. I never use my Facebook. I use it to text a couple family members whose phone numbers I don't have.
Yeah.
Because my phone's broken. And
we already heard Mom broke it. No, I'm joking.
Well, that
was too easy. That was too easy. I'm sorry.
So I use Instagram to kind of get myself out there. I don't want to be popular, but I like being out there.
You like being recognized.
And
you
she
does artwork and amazing makeup. So after this, we're going to actually list her name so you can look at some of her makeup because it's scary.
I think I took it down, but I might repost it.
I don't know. I will scroll through Facebook and catch a picture and be like, what the heck?
Yeah.
So okay.
I used it for that.
People a few things.
Yeah. So you use it for the purpose it's supposed to be used for.
Yeah, for
to get your workout.
Kind of promoting yourself.
Okay. Do you was it always like that when you were a little bit younger? Did you want to connect? Did you want that?
Mm-hmm. When I was 9, my Instagram first started, and that's when I posted all of my drawings as a 9-year-old. They were awful. But
you wanted to feel connected to the world.
Yeah.
You wanted to
it was
get
nice.
Do you feel like something that I really fear, but I mean we all need it. You needed that worth or that value to be validated through social media?
No.
Other people, even friends, family?
I mean, not really, but I just wanted my artwork to kind of get out there.
Yeah.
And
recognition for the things you were doing. More
sort of,
maybe.
and some validation.
Yeah,
we all want to feel like what we're putting out in the world is valuable to someone or
definitely
appreciated. Yeah,
definitely.
And art's an important way of expressing yourself.
It is. It helps.
Do you so just I think that's awesome. I think that the reasons why you're using social media is exactly how social media is supposed to be used.
Yeah.
You don't have to mention names or anything, but just you're at school, you're with other friends.
Yeah.
Do you feel that other individuals are on social media to be validated, but in different ways? The selfies, the all of that. Where's your opinion on how it is affecting your age and your generation on image, on worth of that way?
I'm not really sure, but there's a lot of just teenagers, boys and girls, who kind of really put themselves out there because they feel maybe I don't have enough attention. I can get it from these people online, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be the push to have so many people follow you or things like that.
That's why you see so many people in my grade and stuff with 2,000 followers.
Do you know that you can buy followers?
You can.
I learned that today. They were
you can download apps for it.
You can download apps and buy followers, but most of the followers are from a different country. I heard.
There's this one where you follow them and you get 3 followers,
so
or you like this post and you
remember
get 4
those
followers.
mails of
Facebook likes for your business page or whatever.
Well, yeah, but do you remember the chain mails send this to 25 people or you're going to die at midnight.
People
Garbage.
you'll
You'll
get
get
$1,000 in your mail.
You're gonna
like,
get
yeah,
you're
yeah.
gonna be blessed with money, $1,000. It's kind of like that. Like
That's-
this person and get. Oh,
That's the kind of post. That's like the kind of posts I would like repost when I was like 9 on Instagram because I didn't know any better, and like people still do that.
Kind of like
I don't see them
Facebook is
often. I
taking
must have
over your
filtered.
pictures or whatever, that like garbage that goes around once a year.
yeah.
That's a typical general rule of thumb, though.
Yeah.
With Instagram and Twitter, if someone likes you or follows you, you typically follow them.
But what about if I don't want to follow that person?
That sucks for
Typically,
them.
it's normal.
So
It's just that's normal protocol.
I have one.
I personally have
There are a couple
like
that don't follow back.
3,000 followers on Instagram. I don't know 3,000 people. They're following me because I have cute Dalmatians. I post cute babies and I have cute bags. They don't know me. Like only like 200 of those people know me.
So I have my Instagram on lockdown.
Okay.
I don't feel like I do a lot. Most of what I do is for me or the friends I'm connected to, but I'm pretty much on Instagram because I know she is. So I
Yeah.
have somewhat of a presence. I try to
Yeah.
have a presence. And I do some fun things for work as the BMF Pen Bandit for anyone who's seen those.
Fun.
So I keep it on lockdown, and as probably Scott and other people know that if I'm on Facebook or even LinkedIn for that matter, if I get an unknown follower requesting to, connect with me, if I don't know you, I ask, thanks for reaching out. Do we know each other?
Yeah.
Because and my my pushback for strangers is, and they might say, oh well, I'm a friend of Danielle, and I'm like, that's great, but I post a lot of pictures of my friends and my kids, and I prefer to only connect with people that I know or personally met. Thanks for understanding.
Yeah. Done.
And yeah,
Done.
and like I don't even say anything else. They're like, oh great, totally understand.
Well,
like
you can funnel someone to a business page if you have it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
And that is
Absolutely.
something, I mean, I can tell you, I have grown a lot in the last, I'm just going to say year. I can't tell you how many phone calls I got from my mom a few years ago. Why are you posting you're out of town? You're posting too much on Facebook. And I don't think that I was posting more for validation or attention. It was more of like, I just like to talk to people. I like to tell people everything. I like to, say what I'm doing. And I like that. And then I think when the whole, I almost called it a scandal. It is a scandal.
It is.
Sorry.
The whole breakdown happened.
The whole,
Hold on, I got a sound effect.
I can't even say scandal, but scandal keeps coming to my head. So when all of this stuff started to occur in my family, it was like, nope, none of your business. Like, it was the first time in my life where I was like, I don't want attention. When everybody wanted me to be big and loud and do crazy things and wanted me to get, I was like, no, like, I don't want this to have the attention.
Right.
And that is when I was like, stepped back, like from social media and went, I did not realize how many people, even if they don't like your stuff, they're seeing it. They see it. They might not say anything and they're seeing it. And how much of a presence, one negative thing, I make this joke, I've made this on the show a couple times. Don't talk about your baby's mama or anything on Facebook because
Yeah.
it makes you seem crazy. So like I think that was like my mom's probably cheering. She's like, thank God she stopped sharing. But at that moment I was like, I don't want every picture of my child on Facebook. I don't want what my family's doing on Facebook. Like it was I finally went into a protective mode of myself. And I don't think that it took me, I mean, I was 33 years old and we'll just call it a scandal. I like calling it that now, actually.
It's kind of funny.
To get to that point where I was like, it's none of their business what I'm doing. It's none of their business that I took the kids to the zoo on a Tuesday. Like, do you feel like younger people, like they're just posting because it's fun, or?
That's what I do. I'm like, hey, I look good in that picture. I'm gonna post it because I feel good.
Yeah.
I do that as an adult sometimes. Like, hey, I feel good about the way I look today. Like, let me post a picture or whatever.
it's emotional validation.
It is emotional
Right?
validation.
Like
It's
today,
really
exactly.
is.
I put a picture of my new truck up.
Yeah.
Okay, I work my ass off.
It's emotional validation.
It's
And
like, yes, that is an awesome truck. You deserve it, right?
Yeah.
Or like you rocked whatever your goal was and
Yeah.
you made it.
And I think as humans, I'm a very social person. It's not that I'm putting something on social media because I need the attention or I need the feel bad or the feel goods or anything. I love just celebrating. I celebrate other people. I want you to celebrate with me. And that's just what it is. But then we look at the avenue. We've talked about this on our last show of, the fake Facebook world. If somebody thinks you live this wonderful, great life, happy plastic people is a good image. Are we teaching our youth that that's the way you need to be? Are we teaching our youth to fake fine?
So I know that I don't post all the happy. Like if you look at my Facebook today, it would totally say, if you wanted to know how my life was going, my 2.5-year-old has cried literally all day long. Like that's reality. And I'm not saying that to be like funny or to have people pity me, but like, dang kid,
It's reality.
like, that's my reality, and give me a break, please.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And I feel like I've come to a point where recently I went through a little bit of a Facebook overhaul. So no offense if anybody that I recently unfriended.
She's unfriending everybody.
Officially.
She does. Well, no, they wouldn't watch unless they're one of our friends.
True. But it was
They won't see
nothing
it.
more than, do I really need 700 friends or 1,000 friends
Right.
or 1,500
Yeah.
friends? And what's the purpose? And I just started thinking, what's the purpose? What's the point? And I said, you know what? If I've engaged with you over the last year on social media, I'll keep you around.
Yeah.
If anyone else, you're just there, I don't even know the last time you've posted or when we became friends. I'm sorry, who are you? I'm like, well, maybe nobody's going to have some hurt feelings. So no offense, again.
You know I'm going to work right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in.
Did you
All
make
right.
it, Scott?
So,
That's funny.
but as of lately, it was also along the lines of, thinking about what I'm sharing. I share my life. I'm sharing things I'm doing. I'm sharing things with my family, and and then hardly anything, to be honest. I'm like, boy, I haven't been very active, and then I realized I'm not active because I'm happy. Like,
And that's the thing. That is
life.
That is huge. And something, I've talked to, it kind of opened that conversation with Olivia more about it is she wants on it to talk to somebody, to have somebody to talk to and engage. And you know me, I'm talking to her all the time. She gets enough talking. Why can't she just talk to me all the time?
Because you're not her friend. You're her
But
mom.
it's not even a friend thing. Like I have found that there were a couple people she was talking to that weren't like red flags. They were like 2 to 3 years older than her. She had found on Instagram. I had went through the conversations. They were okay conversations. She just wanted that emotional validation as well as that connection. And, how do you tell her that that's not okay when I'm at a point, I've kind of put my Facebook on a lockdown, but I need new customers always. Like I need to connect and reconnect and all that. And I have a business page, but I've noticed if I post something on my business page or I post something on my profile, the algorithm of Facebook, they're going to see it if it's on my profile more than they're going to see it on my business page. So then I'm like, I don't want to flood my Facebook with it. So then I have these people where I'll do an online party and then I want to friend everybody who ordered so that they remember me. I don't know them. They might have put an order in, but they may be a sex offender that lives down the street.
Well, and that's where
I don't
some
know.
of the filtering comes in handy when it comes to Facebook with all of that, so that you can filter out. So I could set up an album of like things that I post for my kids, like pictures, because we have a lot of family that doesn't live locally. So I do use my Facebook in that capacity, and I can set who sees those things.
Right, your groups.
And so,
And I want to bring up a
filter
point.
that.
Lisa just commented, and all your friends' friends see everything you post.
It depends.
Yeah, it depends on your settings.
Okay.
100%. And who you tag in the post and who you don't tag. So you have to think about all those things when you're doing it.
So I will actually turn like family settings or personal comments or whatever to private, so only my friends can see. But if I'm tagging a business or tagging a company or tagging something that maybe I'm trying to help promote or even my firm, I'll turn that post public. So then it's available. It'll go to the company
It's a
page.
cool thing.
Yeah.
Other people will see it.
So
And
like you could set your 31 like I do my Tupperware. Those are public posts. But the rest of my stuff is private, and I filter who sees it.
Yeah. So and then we'll go to Scott. So as a teenager, do you guys even think about any of that? Like, does any of that even matter? Like, we're all so protective of like business and who sees what, but as a teenager, you could care less, right?
No.
So as my daughter was posting the picture of her in front of our address label, she literally was only posting because it was a cute sign, wasn't it?
Probably.
And
She
me, I'm
wasn't
thinking,
trying to do anything like harmful. Like she wasn't trying to put herself in danger or like make herself feeling, hey, come to my house. Like no, it's not like that. Maybe she just thought that, hey,
Can I
I
do the
look
voice
cute,
that
this
went with
sign
that?
is cool, the whole picture's cool.
that's what she said to me. She was like, the sign's cute, and it's finally on the wall. So if you've come to my house, my address label has like sat on the brick wall on the shelf.
So now when your house catches on fire, they can find it.
So literally it has sat there for 4 years. And Justin put it on the brick a couple months ago, and Olivia was impressed probably because it actually got done. But to me, I went in to protect your mom. I didn't even want to hear her reason. It was a no, give me the phone, absolutely not. Like out of fear.
You're done.
Out of fear.
Yeah.
So
Now,
yes.
Scott.
Scott?
I'll be disembodied voice.
The mystery. What did we call him last time?
Disembodied voice. So very rarely do I contribute to a show, but in this case, I feel very obligated to do so.
You have several different levels.
I have several different levels, and about 2, 3, maybe even 4 years. Well, since we started 330 to go,
Yeah.
I had a conscientious discussion with Kate, and I said, we are going to fully live our life publicly, and that could potentially put us in harm's way, including the children. And we had this adult discussion, okay? And she's like, you know what? Just go for it. And so the kids, so Jillian has Facebook, Instagram,
Don't hit the table,
and
you're echoing.
Snapchat.
How old?
Jillian is a senior at Firestone, so she's 17. And God, we're all. Have you been through? You're not in the college thing yet, are you? Oh my God, it's like we went on our first 2 visits, and I'm like, this is really happening. All right, so yeah, it's like, but
So you have a senior in
we
high
got a
school.
senior in high school. We got a 12-year-old at Miller. We got
Who's in 7th grade.
7th grade. We got a 7th grader at Miller, a 6th grader at Litchfield, and then
The little
a
one that I met.
4-year-old at preschool at Case. So we literally have the whole gamut.
The whole spectrum.
So
And
why?
they live in the spotlight
And I
of
use
somebody
they
who's
they live in the spotlight.
likes
I'm
to
always in the
start crap
media.
on Facebook.
I'm public. Everything's public, and we made the decision. And at the time we were like, does it matter? Yes, but at the same time we're going to do this. We're going to embrace it. So the kids like embrace it too. So when we go to like do a 330, like at the Hudson Haunted House, the 2 girls are going to become monsters that day, get dressed up, and then perform in the haunted house. Okay, so they build it. We kind of weave it into the fabric of our life, but more importantly, it's like what do they have and what do we monitor? Sierra's 12, and we were like, she's like, I want to get Snapchat, and I'm like, no. I said no for about 2 or 3 months, and she's like, but Dad, that's the only way I can communicate with my friends. I'm like, well, don't you have a phone that can text? Even though she's got the QWERTY, I don't get them. I don't get anybody's smartphones. When they go to college, they can have their own data plan and their own plan. God bless them. Okay, but until then, they got a regular phone
So
that
they
calls
have
on the
like
phone.
yeah,
all right.
got
So
it.
Jillian's got a flip phone. Sierra's got a flip phone. They both hate me. I'm okay with that. Okay. So
like the Razor flip phone that was oh so big.
100%. No, 100%.
If I could get my razor back, I would in a second.
It's the QWERTY. You know, they got to go A to get to C, right? Okay.
So they're not texting.
No, they are, but they like,
But it takes
but
them,
their
like,
fingers are
3
like,
times.
and I'm like,
My brother gets mad because he had a flip phone, and he's like, you text so quick that every time, I guess when you try to respond, if some other text message come in, it clears what you said.
yeah. So we let,
So I now have to text him. It has to say period
Yeah.
when I'm done talking.
so we did let Sierra get Snap this year,
Okay.
okay? Which she shares. She's got Snap is weird. Do you have Snap or no? Okay, it's like, it's
It has
I know
amazing
great-
filters, though.
all
it
I
makes,
know-
It makes me look good.
all
in
I can think of
pictures.
with Snap is like Grady Sizemore got in trouble with it, okay? Because he was like hanging out with his girlfriend doing like
It is the
snappies,
cheating
and they
app.
were like, yeah, okay, because it's there and,
And I
then
have
it's
proof
gone,
that it's
okay?
a cheating app.
But the point is, I'm like, okay, and I could see she's got the little friends list, okay,
Yeah.
and it's like 12 to 13, 14
I am
people.
not on her list.
The point is, she does the thing. They take all these stupid ass pictures. They make me look like a dog or a donkey or whatever the hell it is.
Watch
and
your
then-
language. We are a G-rated show.
Sorry, and then it's there and it's gone.
That's
okay,
nice.
but the point is, it's all the face stuff, right? And I'm like, this is
Oh, yeah,
goofy and it's cute.
filters.
But at the same time, I'm thinking, okay, I don't want her to be like friend with like Ralph from California. Okay,
And
So
sending quick pictures that can disappear.
right. So I do, and she's not. I'm gonna say this, and if Kate's watching, she'll like smack me in the head. I don't see Sierra doing that anyway, and I know I'm naive, right? But at the same time, she's only 12, but the point is, that friends list is very, very small. Okay.
Very controlled.
Yes, it's a very
Okay.
controlled environment. So the point is, though, the rest of it is public. Every once in a while, I'll get a like, when I wake up in the morning because of what I do, I've got roughly 40 to 50 Facebook notifications. So my first 10 to 15 minutes of life in the morning is I'll go through them all and I'll just,
Try to figure out what
every
they are.
once in a while, I'll get a like on a picture of like Addie or Sierra from like Iran. And it's like the squiggly their name is the squiggly.
Yeah.
Okay, it's in Arabic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
And
what
I
is
go,
that? Because I get those too.
because it's public, right? So that means it can be viewed anywhere in the world. And I'll go, okay. And I'll just go and I'll just hit the little thing and I'll just click on their profile and I'll say, okay, well, this is Zimbabwe from frickin' Saudi Arabia. And I'll just go to the 3 dots. It's important. Every parent needs to know the 3 dots.
Quit hitting the table. You're echoing our mic.
3 dots. And you go
Like I'm doing it.
and you
I'm going
hit
to tell you to get your hands off the table.
block. And that's
Yeah.
it. So as long as you monitor it, public life doesn't suck. But at the same time, it does require, as you mentioned,
Diligence, I think.
100% diligence. But with what I do, I'm diligent all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, I can tell you, I am a more active parent now than I have ever been, and I can do that. But parents are working, parents are all over the place, and I think that that's when it gets out of hand, is when they're not able to do the diligence and the check.
Well, I'll disagree. I think there's no excuse.
Oh no, there's no
Right,
excuse.
like
I think
if-
that's what's
If
happening.
your kid is on social media, your job as
It's
part
the
of your
same-
parenting duties needs to be there. If you cannot monitor it,
And that's where I'm at right now.
Right,
So
but-
my child, honestly, Olivia, does not have social media because I do not have the time to monitor it.
right.
Like
I don't
that
think that's
flat,
unfair.
like that is the answer. Do I think that I could trust her? Yes. Do I think that she would have fun doing videos and stuff? Yes. I know my limitations, and right now in my life, it is all me handling everything, and I know that I can't be reliant to check her stuff daily to even weekly and be completely mindful to do that. So she can't even have it.
So
And I've explained that to her. I said, you know what, this is mom's fault. I can't do this right now.
and I had
It's
been,
like that 3-year-old. If you have a 3-year-old running through the parking lot, you're gonna hold their hand, right?
Yeah, and
Unless
I had
they
been a
run
single.
faster than you do.
I was
Bethany's
a-
kids are different.
Yeah. Well, I was a single mom for 11 years. So I did it all on my own and went through all this. I made time.
Yeah.
Whether it goes on your
Scheduled it,
calendar, whether
probably.
whatever your, to-do list consists of, whether it's on paper or it goes on a calendar, whatever it may be, you need to find time. And while I may not have always found time every day, and because that's a little much, right? We find time when we can. Maybe you start off a little more frequently when it's new to both of you.
Right.
And then as
Okay.
time goes on and trust is built, it gets a little less and less frequent. And I feel like that's the easy way. Like, I don't want it to seem like I'm stalking my kids' stuff. I give them the freedom, I give them the trust, and then I do random phone checks. So it keeps them mindful of being like, well, I know mom checks the phone. It just makes them think twice. Is really the whole
And that's
goal.
the thing, you want to teach them that. So I love that. So is there any, Sophia, is there any closing things, like, I mean, from your friends' aspects from just today's life, like, do you think that it is important that kids your age are on social media?
For me, it's important because some of my friends have very strict guidelines in their home. Like my best friend, personally, her phone is weird. Her phone is broken. Her grandma is very uptight, so I can only contact her on social media.
Okay.
So that's another reason why I have it. That's like there's a lot of people I know that I can only contact over social
On
media.
social media. So you think that it is important. And Stephanie, do you think that our youth should have social media?
So yes, and I'll tell you, without getting into the weeds, there is a point in your kids' lives where they're going to need a lot of emotional validation or emotional support. Middle school sucks, right?
Yeah, we are learning that. We
And-
are learning
and
that.
what happens
I mean, I
is
didn't
when
love it then, so I'm
right,
curious.
and
Just the
and
same.
right now more than ever, this is their social circle. Their social circle may be at the lunch table. Once they leave the lunch table, it's now online. So if
Okay.
you're punishing your kids if you take away their phone, which I've done and had learned, you take away their network. You
Right.
take away their support system. So if there's something, and we talk a lot about social media, but we forget that there are a lot of emotional needs of children right now. There are a lot more emotional
How do you think
needs.
how do you think our parents filled our emotional needs at that age then?
Well, I think it was different.
I don't know if
Just
they
a different life.
necessarily did.
Okay.
in some
Right.
respects.
We also weren't cutting ourselves
Right.
at that point in time and doing a lot of things that were happening
That's
back
true.
then. So
That's true. And we didn't have the drug epidemic
Right,
and the
right.
alcohol and all of
So
that.
Everything evolves. I mean, everything's evolved. But so
Okay.
I would just say be mindful. Be mindful of, like, she had mentioned her friend is only on social media. So if she lost her phone, how is her friend going to be able to get her social circle? How is
She
she
won't be
going to
able to-
tap
True.
in? She
Yeah.
will not. And then
Yeah.
other things could really
And then it can
happen.
lead to
So-
Well,
other
does
things.
some
right.
of that stem from maybe grandma doesn't understand the technology, or is it just
No,
super
it's-
strict?
It's just super strict.
Okay.
And I think it's strict again out of fear of the unknown. And that was kind of really why I really wanted to do this show, was not to increase. Don't go steal your children's phones because of the show, but just inform you that this is life now.
Well, and
This is life. It's going to be full of technology. What as a parent can you do to protect them, but also let them have that connection?
And I think for me, it's also, I have a much younger child, so figuring out, what best practices might work for us, or what might not be a good situation for our family based on the things you've said. Because, I don't know how it's going to look for any of my kids. I mean, they're significantly younger. They're 9, 4, and 3. So obviously that's
It would be a
she-
whole different
it's gonna be
generation
a whole
by then.
different thing by then. But obviously for the 9-year-old, she's exposed to a lot of things because the neighborhood kids are older. So figuring out that balance without being just no, you can't do it.
And I do want to clarify, at least in my opinion, Snapchat might be affiliated with dating apps, but it isn't the only, right? Because you're on Snapchat with your daughter who's 11, and that's literally the whole purpose, is so he can communicate with his daughter. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only got negative from it. I don't have much positive. So
Good and bad. I think
we're
it's
going to
a
wrap
balance.
up soon, but my daughter, and I did not give her pre-warning of this, just walked in the door. So if I could have Olivia and Sophia switch seats for a second, she's probably going to throw me under the bus.
Sophia's like, whatever.
So Olivia literally just came from running, so she looks a hot mess. That's okay.
That's
You look
all
good. So I'm definitely gonna throw myself under the bus right now. But this is going to go poorly, and I'm wondering if we can just edit this right now and put a pause on the podcast so it doesn't go viral. So Olivia, and I have been very honest with my reason. You currently do not have your phone.
Nope.
And you lost your phone because you posted a picture of an address, and mom, instead of having a conversation, flipped out.
yes.
So can you tell me?
The face was great,
Yes.
man.
So I, being a recent single parent, I get scared. And my mom, by the way, my mom raised me to be terrified of the entire world too. So I think that increased it as well. But
You can only use your mom as an excuse
I know,
for so long.
but she did. She'll tell me even now, there's a predator
starting to
living
scare
in the
me.
driveway. My mom would say something, don't walk behind the. So I do have fear. That's not an excuse, though. It's not an excuse. I need to learn. So Olivia, at your age, so Olivia is 11. What are your friends on? What are your friends doing?
So my friends are on Instagram, they are on Snapchat, and they are on TikTok, and that's the basic main 3 that they are on.
So Facebook is phased out.
Not all, actually.
That's for us.
That's what I thought. I was told a few months ago that Facebook has been generational capped. It's now Instagram if you are 20 or under.
Not necessarily.
The moment that they go to get married, they have to have Facebook.
Oh yes, no, it's 20 and under is Instagram, and then once you're over 20, you can move back to Facebook.
Correct.
Is what I've been told.
They all have accounts, and then they reactivate them when they go to get married because that's how they keep in.
We can't hear you. You don't have a mic.
Find
It's
out
okay.
about babies.
So Olivia, why do you feel that it is important to be on social media?
So the point that I like to be on social media is I like to feel on social media I'm going to use Instagram because that's the only social media that I did have when I had my phone. I have a lot of friends, but they don't live close to me, and I don't get to see them every day because all of my friends are in different schools. So one is in all different places. So I follow those friends on Instagram so I can stay in touch with them. And the easy way is I can see what they're doing in their life, or when they're having a hard time, that I can encourage them, or I can say, oh my gosh, you look amazing in that dress, because I'm not there to face tell them, you look amazing. Or I'm not there to say, you know what, everything's going to be okay. I'm right here. I can't be face to face to tell them and give them encouragement or just say hi. And social media gives me the opportunity to say that.
Okay, so one, she's like interview answers. Have you noticed that? Like that was like right on the perfect answer. So I guess those theater classes.
We don't have a cheat sheet like
So,
that.
but my question is
Like
those.
that was all me.
Yeah.
Right here.
So that reason right there, I 100% approve it. 100% approve social media. Love it. Love that she's encouraging. What about the hours spent watching somebody put makeup on, or the random people you friend just because, or, you know,
Is that like watching the Game Master with my children on YouTube?
or yeah, the people. Do you know it's a thing on YouTube for people to watch people play video games?
My
Yes,
son, all day, every day.
FGTV.
Why?
I feel that's
Every day, all day.
pointless. Like, if you're gonna watch another person play the game, just play the game.
Or
Like,
opening those surprise eggs makes me want to like.
Oh my gosh, no, the pearls.
Oh.
The pearls are good. So, okay, so, you know, we got to wrap this up. But I want to, you know, so you have valid points to be on social media.
thank you.
Oh.
Who in your class has smartphones? Or don't who? How many?
I think like 2/3 of
Do you
your
think
class?
most of them have it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I get asked. Actually, today in math class, a girl asked me, "Do you have TikTok?" And I said, "No." I actually threw you under the bus.
Okay.
She said why, and I said my mom's crazy.
I tell her that's a validated reason. If somebody questions something, just throw your mom under the bus. She's crazy. My mom is mean as can be. She won't let me have anything.
Nope.
I tell her that all the time. So,
She probably felt bad. for
why do you not
She
have?
did. I'm sure she did.
Why do you not have TikTok?
Because predators, and because you terrify me and you lecture me, saying I have went to the police several times and they have informed me that they get a lot of
I have a police friend.
yeah. They get a lot of crimes from people on TikTok because they're posting where they are. They're posting things that shouldn't be posted. They're posting just all kinds of things, and how people can track you down because you can let people see your location, which creeps me out, because if I'm somewhere, I do not want you to be there too. If I really wanted you to be there, I would have
I
invited
feel like
you.
she's channeling you at this moment.
know.
like this is
Like
so
mother,
you.
like
Yes.
daughter.
This is why Olivia's only on the show briefly. So at 11, it is a connection
best
thing.
part of
Just
the
like
show,
as
I think.
Sophia said, I think as parents, we are looking at it as we need to protect. If they're on social media, a predator's going to get them. You know, next, you know, kind of just to give, you know, wrap this up, next week we are going to have Nicole, who is from Rahab Ministries, and kind of talk to us about the thing that us parents fear: our children getting kidnapped, our children getting into sex trafficking, our children falling into that predator. That's all of our fears, though. And that's what we've been taught and what we've been explained. But in their heads, they just want to talk to their friends. They just want emotional validation. They just want that connection. They just want to be there. And unfortunately, like, we may never understand that per se, like, exactly, because
What's different than
it was
how we
different.
grew up.
It was different. So,
Y'all are oldies and we're newies. We just
all right, you're done.
There's a fine
Cut
line.
her mic. Cut her mic. So, thank you guys for joining us tonight. Is there any closing
All I
things
could
that
think
you-
of was To Catch a Predator when you were talking about all of
Catch a
them.
predator?
Yeah, the show. Oh,
Mine was
see?
Catfish. I think we all should like have a
Catfishing.
watch party of Catfish.
Oh my
office.
gosh, cat.
So, I mean, it's scary. It's scary. And actually, it's funny.
Well, but it's only as scary as you let it be, and if you are informed about it, then you can make a good decision instead of just reacting out of fear. And I think that's important, because if you react out of fear, it's not the right answer.
Yeah.
So, yes, some things definitely make me nervous, but I'd rather have the conversation with my child than just be like, no, you can't have it because I said so.
Well, and I think that you know, kind of going off of what Stephanie said of you can't protect them forever. They're gonna find a way. And so I had made a comment to a friend who actually just joined in a few minutes ago. she has a 3-year-old, and we were talking about just general and how life's come. And I had said, I can't tell you how much I wish that I could just hold on to my daughter's hand in the mall so that nobody grabs her and nobody takes her. You know, you think these horrible things that no matter where you go, you need to hold on to your kids. You need to protect them from everything. Like, everybody's out to get, like, that's what's been instilled to a certain extent. And, you know, I made that comment to her of like, you know, you think often of like somebody can grab somebody at any time. And that can't happen. And that could have happened when we were kids. There were just as many kids getting kidnapped and all of that when we were kids, but there wasn't this big media for it. There wasn't this big, like...
It wasn't as known.
Exactly.
Right.
So we can talk all night long about how our world has changed. Technology-wise, yes, it has. But there was just as many bad people, predators in the world then that there is now. We're just more aware.
Also, bad selves. So if you think about it, like, they're going to push the negative. They're going to push those stories. So they're going to be the front of the headlines. And there are a lot of good things that do happen.
Yeah.
So I read an article that said, you know, it was like the top most horrible things in the world. And one is like, you know, death by heart disease. And it ranked all the way down to like terrorism was at the bottom. But it was like what's promoted in the medium. It was
opposite.
flipped.
Yeah.
Wow.
So terrorism was promoted, you know, 78% of the time, while it really was only 1% of like deaths in the world. And so it was really interesting. The other thing I wanted to add was that I was talking to my home repair guy, and we were commenting about installing a deadbolt on my front door. I was like, well, I really need a deadbolt. And he says, why do you think you really need the deadbolt? And I was like, well, what if somebody breaks in? And he's like, there's a window.
Yeah.
If they really want to get in, they will find a way in. No matter how many deadbolts, no matter how many chains, they'll go to a back window. They will find a way in.
But I think that our generation, and you know, our generation has been raised to have that fear because that's when the social media, or when the social media thing launched and the media launched to dig on that 1% too. It's what sold.
Sure.
And so now
fear sells.
Fear
right?
sells.
sell,
Fear
yeah.
sells. And so
for me, like, personally, I try to look at 3 or 4 different media outlets to figure out what they have in common, because whatever they have in common is generally more true than whatever they're all saying individually.
Because, like, if you look at something like on social media, if say you said that there's this new breed of cats, and if
I have no idea where this is going.
I don't know. If I go on Mom's, not Danielle, sorry,
or both.
yeah, and she says the same thing, but she doesn't. Well, I'm obviously going to believe you two because that has the most true information, and she says there isn't. So whatever has the more, we just think
it's automatically.
We think it's
true because you
automatically
see it.
true.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, thanks for joining us tonight. We're going to kind of wrap this up. I guess, you know, kind of to conclude it, generations have changed. Not saying that social media is, you know, it gets the bad rep of being bad, always being bad, and all these negative things and all of that. But there is a lot of good to it. You know, our kids, we want to protect them. I think that a lot of parents protect out of fear instead of protect out of conversation. And, you know, having the conversation, seeing where they are, I thought that was an amazing point of just seeing where they are and understanding why they are doing what they're doing. You're instilling a value that's going to stay with them forever.
Educate them and educate yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that is so important. So thank you for joining us this week around the table. And next week we have, again, Nicole. She's from Rahab Ministry. So it's a local organization that really focuses on this area and across the United States of human trafficking, what's happening on social media, the more negative facts of, you know, why we can validate some of that fear. So that's going to be a good conversation. So please join us.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited that she's going to be on. So, all right, thanks so much. Have a good night.
Hi guys.
Wonderful weekend.